Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to In Gear. Of course, this is the episode that's going to be extra special because you are going to be watching this from the comfort of your homes as you prepare to go back for Hari Raya. Now, the last thing you want to do is to drive to your kampongs and get stuck in a jam, which is precisely why we are here to help you. And how? Because we are going to be talking about this baby over here, the travel time advisory. What we're going to do is we're going to go in there and we're going to talk to a man who's going to be able to tell us about the processes behind the TTA, as well as taking a closer look at the nerve center for everything that Plus does for you and I this festive season on the highways. And then later, of course, we've got a great car review just for you. So stay tuned. So evidently, you can see I'm standing in a room that looks like I could possibly say, Houston, we've got a problem. Well, this is not Houston, but this is the command center of everything that happens on the Plus Highway. Everything that you do on the Plus Highway, these guys over here know about it. So we want to understand a little bit more about, well, not just the travel time arrangement, but everything, the thought process and all the thinking that goes behind ensuring that your journey is smooth and, well, buttery, if you know what I mean. So I found a very important guy over here, and he's going to be able to answer all my questions. So let's get into a conversation with him. Assalamualaikum, Tuan.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I can see that it's very busy time.
Yes.
I can imagine this is quite hectic these days.
Yes, sure, definitely.
Okay, so who we have over here right now is Engineer Muhammad Zulastri. He is the man who oversees what happens over here, and he has some of the answers to the questions that we have. So first of all, okay, every year when we want to go back balik kampong, we will wait for your party to come up with a TTA or the travel time arrangement.
Yes.
Why do you think, in the first place, as a philosophy, why would it work? Would it really work if people stagger their travel time, or does it actually not make a difference if people all went in?
Okay, the principle is behind is basically we want to stagger the travel times. You know, basically the highway is congested if people get in at the same time. So we want them to go back at different times on different days. So we come up with a travel time advisory so that we can have the reasonable numbers of traffic on the roads at one time in a day.
So when was this first implemented?
It was implemented back in 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
So we've had a good, at least almost a decade of experience.
Yeah, 7 years. Yes, exactly.
Okay, and what is the remarkable difference between before we had the TTA and now?
Okay, actually it depends very much on the compliance level from the customers. If they comply, perhaps we can have the reasonable amount of traffic on the highway. But we come and advise, but they don't follow.
Okay.
This is the trick. They really have to comply.
So that's the question. Do they comply?
Okay, based on our records for the 5 years, for example, last year, we have only 46% of compliance level. But I think that there was one year that in 2009, we achieved about almost 60%.
Okay.
So we noticed during that time, the pattern of traffic on the highway is much more controlled. You can see people, a smooth flow. But last year was a bit lower, so that we couldn't get so much of, smoothness. But we hope that this time people will try to comply to our advice.
I remember driving back from Alostar to KL once, and this was towards the tail end of Chinese New Year. So this is me returning back to KL. And I thought, okay, this was not even the last day of the holidays. This was 2 days. So let's say we start work back again on Hari Isnin. This was on Saturday. This was on Saturday, and I left home at 11 o'clock in the morning. No, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I only got to Ipoh at almost 8 o'clock at night. Traffic was really bad at that time. So why do you think that could happen? What are the main contributors of this?
Again, as I said, people like to travel on the same time. For example, in our TTA, we advise people, for example, far north and far south to get out first. They have to get out to the highway from 6 o'clock in the morning. So from 6 to 8, we advise those people staying maybe in Johor, south, and up north in Perlis and Pulau Pinang to get out early. And later, maybe after from 8 to 10, we advise people from Johor a bit north and maybe Perak north to get out.
South, yeah.
And then it follows until 5 o'clock in the morning. Then after 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. actually is a free. You can travel anytime. I think we believe during that period there's nobody on the roads basically.
Right, I see.
So we want people to travel. Those very far go out early, and those are near they can get out later, maybe 5 o'clock in the evening.
Right, right. I see. So that means even in KL, you will have so the people from the far north will be all arriving at the same time if they follow, if they comply.
Yeah.
Between the northern route and the southern route, which one sees a heavier traffic flow?
Actually, both sides, Right. For example, from the southern section, we expect from Nilai to Seremban. There's always a stretch that's quite heavy. And similarly on the north, from Rawang to Slim River. These are the stretch that we know every year. These are potential areas where, the congestion will occur. So that's why we think that, by staggering the time, we can allow people to leave early so that people staying, closer, they can leave later. So we can have about 1.1 million a car at one time on the roads.
I see. Okay. Right, I understand. So that is the TTA.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go for a short break right now, but when we come back, we're going to understand a little bit more about what we see here, because this is like I said in my introduction, Houston, we have a problem, but no, it's not Houston. So stay with us because we've got more juicy information about what's going to happen here over the festive period, all right? So when you're going on the highway, you see those yellow boxes or orange boxes. Those are the telephones.
Yeah,
so I would imagine
telephones,
that connects to here. So we are going to understand when you pick up the phone what happens and what are all these people behind all this. I've lost count the number of screens and computer screens they have in this room. What exactly happens here?
Okay.
So tell us about this command center.
Okay, this is the nerve of our operations. We call it traffic monitoring center. So we have at least 20 people, in a day, at least on a normal days. But during a peak period like this Hari Raya, we have 29 people per shift to man this area. So basically, when a customer have problems on the highway, so we have our emergency telephone located at every 2 kilometers on the highways.
Okay.
So they can just pick it up. Then when they pick it up, then people from here will be able to know where they are, because it's connected to a fiber optics lines that we have along the expressway. So people here should know where they are, and then we can send our Plus Ronda teams to their area to rescue or to give them some assistance.
Right, so you will actually have a Plus Ronda team stationed at every intersection?
Our Plus Ronda team actually is patrolling the highway.
Oh, it's mobile.
They're mobile. They
I
patrol the highway, 24 hours, 7 days a week. 7 days a week. So they are always there. So that's why I said when customer has problem, they pick it up the emergency telephones. Then from there we should be able to know where they are. But nowadays people have handphone also.
Yeah.
So it's very convenient. They can call our plus line number 1-800-88-0000. So then we will be able to answer their call here also.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't explain why you would need all these big screens and all that.
So we have 40 numbers of 50-inch LCD here. This is where we display our congestion maps. When we get input from the customers, for example, from the Plus line, from the Plus Ronda, then we will put up the information on our video wall here. Then we also have CCTV located along our highway. We have more than 1,600 CCTV. More than 1,600 CCTV located on the highway and also on the toll plaza. So we can zoom at any point that we want here, so that to monitor the traffic conditions. So people here manning 24 hours, 7 days a week, so they are ready to answer any calls or any assistance that require from our customers.
Right, I see. Okay, but what happens when, if you're sitting here and then you see on one of the screens you have very bad congestion? What can you do?
Okay, see, we have also our variable message signboard, located at certain strategic locations.
So those are the VMSs, all around.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we receive any information, then our people here will immediately update the traffic conditions. So the people out there should be able to know whether they want to avoid or they want to go straight. So at the same time, we can also make announcement into the radio. We have worked with certain radio stations, so that they will be able to give the live update on the traffic conditions at any time in the day.
I see.
Yeah.
What could you say is the most, I mean, you're a very experienced man and you know this place inside out. So what would you say on a personal level, what was the most exciting or something, the biggest thing that you have seen happen here on these screens? Or the most difficult situation that you have had to manage?
To me, the difficult times would be if there are major accidents, you know. I think people can accept, you know, congestions because of there are so many people on the roads. But when it comes to accidents, it's something that we cannot, you know, predict.
Yeah.
When congestion happen because of accidents, then we have to get our, you know, our recovery teams to be there. So sometimes they get problems to access because of the congestion when people use the emergency lane. That's why we advise customers not to use the emergency lane because the emergency lane is actually for recovery, response team to get there early on time.
Right. Okay. Now, finally, as we all know, along with the TTA, we've got a huge exodus of people going in and out of the city. Well, mostly out of the city and then later in.
Later.
So, what would you say are your top 3 do's and don'ts of traveling during this period?
Okay, I think one of the first most we must make sure that ourselves is fit. You must have enough rest, you know, before you start your journey. And please inspect the condition of the car. You know, make sure it's in the fit conditions. You have enough petrol inside it, and also have enough money in your touch and go.
Okay.
So we advise customers to use our touch and go card because it will help you most at the toll plaza. So I think to me that is the most important. And as I mentioned just now, do not use our emergency lanes unless absolutely necessary.
Right.
Because it's meant for emergency situations and for the recovery vehicles to get into the highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, throughout the stretch of the North-South Highway, are there particular areas that you would like to caution people to be extra careful when they're traveling? Perhaps because it's a high-speed area?
As I mentioned earlier, for the southern section from Nilai to Seremban, because we have works going on, although we have stop activity, but there are a lot of signages there. So please follow the signages that we have provided because we expect to be a high traffic area. Similarly, up north within Rawang to Slim River, because these areas again there are so many climbing areas. So there are, although we have banned the trucks on the 2 days before, 2 days before Raya and after Raya, but again we expect there are many cars on the roads. So please follow the all the safety tips and the signages that we have provided.
Got it. Understood. Well, I think after all this information, we'll probably get a clearer picture of what we should do during our travel balik kampung. So. Thank you so much for your time. Selamat Hari Raya and hope you have a safe journey back too.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. Right.
Okay, well that's it. You're clued in. You know exactly what to do and not to do during this entire festive period. So be sure to do those 3 things that Engineer Mahmoud Lastri said just now. Inspect yourself and your vehicle. Ensure you don't use your emergency lanes. And also, if I can also add, please comply to the TTA that has been worked hard upon just for your convenience. Because if you do, and a lot of people do, you're going to be sure of a smooth journey balik kampung. Stay with us, we've got an exciting segment coming up next on In Gear.